We are back, and what we've got now is a new model, Crystal. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to do my 3 light approach with some, well, they're Westcott large, well, no, medium soft boxes. They're in really tight though. So they will create an edge light on Crystal, but they're pretty close, so it's a fairly soft edge light. And then I have about a 24-inch octo overhead, very, very similar to what a 22-inch beauty dish will produce, or any modifier that's around that size. And I have a fill card here that's going to bounce light back up in here. And so this is how I do the I would call this really super clean beauty shot. It could be a cosmetic type approach to lighting. So the key here is I want this overhead light to light the center part of my subject. It doesn't even affect the edges. My edges are going to be affected by my background lights here. So in a way, what I do is I fine-tune my edge lights first, get the value I want, and then by taking the power up and down on my overhead light, I will feather the light on her face. Now in this scenario, I want a fair amount of light coming in this part right here, but I want it slightly darker than my edge lights. So I want to have that wrap around. Remember I said from the shoulder part to the inside of her arms, all the chin, everything's being modeled and showing the features and building depth. So let's take a look at this. And I also, when I first set this up, my background was, with this modifier, was a little too dark. It was kind of a middle gray. So I moved everything back about 3 feet and just increased the value of my background just slightly to give me the gray I want. So let's take a look at that. So right now I have a 100 macro lens on here. I don't shoot a lot of long lens stuff, but I pulled out what really is probably about my longest lens. I have a 7200, I hardly ever use it, but this lens is tack sharp. So let's take a look at this. All right, Crystal, right in there. All right, you'll notice that the shoulders have highlights. The cheekbones have a little bit of highlights right along the side here. Let's do another one straight on. I want to show that again, straight on there. And I want my lights equal. Now I can see right now that probably that light got spun just a little bit, so it's not giving me the exact value of light that I have on my other light. So let's spin that. It's very critical to sort of get these to be exactly the same. And because I have grids on there, it's not so much a case with this lens, but I'll show you, I'll move in a little bit closer with a little bit wider lens, and you'll see that without those grids, you're going to have a lot of flare coming into the lens. But let's try this right here, straight on again, right there. All right, so now I'm getting pretty close to equal. What I might do is down power this one just a fraction. So we're going to go down about, a third of a stop. So I can feather out the value between both those lights. Fire another one off here. That's looking pretty clean. I'm looking under the chin, and I'm looking at my shadows there. The nose, I like my shadow to fall about midway between the lip and the nose. Maybe just a little higher sometimes, but you don't want that shadow to go down and actually touch the lip. At least I don't as an artist, and my vision, you know, not that I know everything about what I'm doing here, but I do know that for my taste, I don't want that shadow to go down too low. So if I was to raise it, that shadow gets longer. And right now I've had to raise it a little bit higher than I normally do because I've got a longer lens I have to shoot through it. So what I'll do in a minute, I'll show you, I'll move in, we'll lower the light a little bit, and you'll see that shadow will creep up a little bit. It's a little more pleasing. So our eyes look good. Let's have your shoulder, let's bring your arms out. So I want to see the tapering of your arms there in the shot here. So let's try another one. I'm going to focus on our eyes. Now just do a couple things. I'm going to work it a little bit here, yeah. Now give me a little smile. There you go. Perfect. I love it. Okay, now right now I'm having to crop it in a little bit because if I go too high, I'm going to catch my modifier. So let's do this. Let's take this lens off. But this is a nice compact lens. I mean, it takes and pushes her features together. So I'm going to go with my 7200, and I'm going to be able to come in a little bit closer, which is normally how I work. And because I'm in closer, I'm able to now lower my modifier. And that gives me a little bit less, like I said, shadow on between her nose and her lips. So I'm going to go right about here, and I'm going to take and bring her top of her head all in there right now. So that is what I like right there. Very clean, and that is about a 60 millimeters. So I have really good tone value change in her shoulders. Let's go a little wider. I'm going to go a little wider on you. Okay, and my background or my backlight's creeping in just a little bit, but I'm not worried because I can take that out in Photoshop, or I can just walk it out a little bit here, just a fraction. And that might be why my light was a little bit overpowered here. So let's go up a couple clicks so we can get back to our same value. Let's try that again. Ready? Perfect. That is about what I would say is right on for me. Now, if I take and down power the overhead light, it's going to darken the values right in here between the eyes and the mouth. And so let's do that. I'm going to show you what that'll look like. So we're going to go down. Let's go down about a half a stop. Okay? Show you the difference. Here we go. So now it's just a little darker along in here. Now, because I have the fill card, it's filling in a lot, but it does have a slight difference in value right down in here. Now, again, because you're an artist and you have a creative vision, you get to make that decision. Unless you have a client stand over you, then they may say, just darken or lighten it, smooth the skin out more, or you know, what the client's vision is. So, but you know how to do it. By just feathering this light really can change the look. So let's go the other way. We're going to go a half stop on the other side, which is a full stop now. So let's take a look what that looks like. Here we go. So now it's even smoother in between the transition, which again may be what you like. That's simple. Now, I know this because the bigger the source in relationship to the subject, the softer the light, that if I want to go softer, I have a choice of either moving those boxes in, which is going to be tough because they're going to start creeping into your frame, or I get bigger modifiers. Also, taking off the grids will soften a little bit. The grids kind of, I guess, hold back a little bit of light and build a little bit of contrast. So you might try to go without grids, and then you're going to have a risk of maybe having a little bit of flare. But again, it depends on the lens of choice. But there you have it, 3-edge light beauty with what we call a small overhead and 2 medium background lights.